April 2024 will be the biggest and most important month this year, guys. Look at this. Everything is merged together here. All the planets are very close together. Lots of new beginnings. Solar eclipse of the century is happening there. Powerful solar eclipse, which means new beginning solar eclipse, which means there is earthquake in your soul at certain level, because there are earthquakes as well on Earth. And this earthquake changes and gives you a new initiative, new direction in life, new identity areas. These are my longest horoscopes this year. I'm not gonna do such long horoscope, but this is such an important month. A new beginning, another new beginning. Saturn conjunct Mars, new cycle starts, which means you're gonna have, for the next 2 years, new tasks. The great work that you have to do, where you have to build perseverance, where you have to put a lot of your efforts. Where is that going to be? And you might have a master finish work within 2 years. But big challenges there as well. And the biggest event of the year, Jupiter conjunct Uranus. It will never happen again. Jupiter to conjunct Uranus in Taurus in your life. It will repeat in 84 years. Once in a lifetime opportunity. I can't tell you how excited I am. New cycle. Well, will your source of abundance and opportunities come to you over the next 14 years? If you catch this message, if you understand it, you can have an opportunity for the next 14 years to be abundant. So we'll speak about each of the 12 signs. But before I start, I want to tell you that this is my birthday month, April. If I'm still alive after April, with all the eclipses and new beginnings, I want to make you a gift. All my courses will be 30, 40%, sometimes even more off. I do this only once per year for 2 weeks. This is the time. All my courses, personal courses, if you want to learn astrology over 1,000 hours, they're short courses, long courses, I'll put them. You can buy them now. I hope you enjoy this. And we still have a few places for the retreat with me in Bulgaria at the end of May. We have 3 places, I think, so quickly write to me if you're interested to organize everything quickly for you. This is the most personal retreat I ever do, because I'll be looking at all of your horoscopes individually. It's very private and it's very personal. It's a small group only. So thank you so much. Let's start. Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, April 2024. Cancer, look at that. All the planets, you're here, all the planets are on top of your horoscope. Very visible part, above the horizon. So there's going to be action in April. You'll feel busy and you'll be seen and you'll be noticed what you're doing, and your actions will have impact on others, important actions. You have a chance to really kind of have, when planets are above the horizon, there is more free will in a sense to control things, to direct them into the direction you'd like. So it can be a very impactful month. And of course, we start with the eclipse on the 8th of April. But this eclipse will have influence not just on the 8th of April. You might feel it even a month before and for the next 1 year. So it is telling you this eclipse. And that's the last eclipse in Aries we're going to have for 9-10 years. So it is telling you big change might be on the horizon in your career. The 10th house is your social status, your reputation. It's how you're seen by others, and it's also your impact on the world. It's your mission. Some of you, because this is a new eclipse of new beginnings, it's new moon. The sign is Aries, which is new beginnings, and it's with the North Node, which is, again, powerful new beginnings, new impulse, new fated developments that you haven't experienced before. So it can be either like a renewal of your career path, and it doesn't necessarily need to be career path. It can be like a renewal for your goals in life, for how you come up into the world, and what your goals are there to present yourself in certain ways, what motivates your actions, something new that motivates you to take action, to activate yourself into this world. Because the 10th house is the house of action, interestingly enough. So there is this powerful trigger that is happening. Again, you might not feel it immediately. You might have felt it before, or over the next 1 year. Some of the possible manifestations for some of you is a new career, direction in a career that inspires you, that triggers you in a positive way. a new, you might grow a business, because the North Node is about growing, that the eclipse is caused by the North Node. It's about acquiring more from the material world, for more prestige, more recognition in some way. This will be especially powerful if it's your ascendant that is in Cancer. Ancient texts talk that specifically if it's your ascendant in Cancer and there is an eclipse in the 10th house from the ascendant, you might become like a king. What does it mean? You can get a promotion, you can get more responsibilities, you can get more worldly recognition in some way. Again, I always love telling the story, but when I had an eclipse in the 10th house from my ascendant, I, especially with the North Node, it's to gain something, to manifest something. I expanded my business within a few months of the eclipse, actually right in the month of the eclipse. I expanded, became from just me, then I started working suddenly with 10 other astrologers, so the business expanded. And this Aries Rahu North Node eclipse energy is asking you to dare and to take risks. Don't try to, the energies, be brave. So you might have some dreams, or you might have some ambitions for yourself that you feel too small about, that you're like, oh, this is too much. No. Even because the North Node energy is about almost jumping into the water before you can swim. Because North Node is experiences we don't have previous life experience with. Okay, maybe you do, but it's taking, North Node is like a jump on a trampoline. You don't take the stairs, you suddenly can be from the first floor to the third floor. So for some of you, it can be such a development in social status. And social status sometimes can mean like marriage or change of a social status, because, from Mrs. you become Miss, or from Miss you become Mrs. Or you can be some other change in the social status. And it can be, as I said, it doesn't take the traditional way, climbing around, the slow and steady way with eclipses. And with the North Node, it can indicate you might be thrown into the water before you can swim, and you learn, you fake it till you make it. So don't be afraid to take risks. Of course, you have to be, don't be reckless. That's another thing. But now it's saying, like, if you take those chances, there can be sudden rise there. A new direction in your career is another way. A new inspiration to get you to activate it, and it doesn't necessarily need to be always career. It just gets you activated. And of course, the 10th house is institutions. There can be something important that's happening in regards to institutions, authority figures, like a new authority figure or boss, or you enter into a new role with different responsibilities or usage. Or it can even be father figure, something very important happening with an important father figure in your life. And of course, eclipses can start sometimes with a crisis. If you're not aligned to your mission, vocation, it can start with a crisis, something in your career to awaken you and put you on the right path. Or sometimes a crisis with an authority figure, a parental figure of some sort. But again, the ultimate goal of this eclipse is to make you more initiative, to take initiative in your actions, and to go and make the life that you really want. Because the 10th house is, it's what you're here to contribute to the world. And Aries says, no longer don't try to please others or what others think, or be shy, be courageous and jump with both feet. Of course, there is a bit of a reevaluation energy as well in April, because Mercury is retrograde the whole month at the same time with the new eclipse. So we have this very new energy there in all matters that we discussed, but we also have some energy of you're reevaluating something. Maybe an old project comes and this new moon eclipse can bring it new life. Or they can be you're rethinking, do I really want to be in this direction of career, or want to have this boss, or do I really want to be like that with the boss? Or maybe you have to finish something and fix it with an institution, or maybe reconnecting with an authority figure, or maybe working on some project which you have to edit, revise, fix. Of course, Mercury retrograde can give some certain delays and certain frustrations. You have certain plans that you have to do with your career, or plans with the actions you want to take this month in your life. But Mercury is retrograde. You have to be flexible and adaptable because there's surprises, the curveballs thrown at you. And usually Mercury retrograde can give you a different perspective of an old or already existing issue. Maybe that's why it's like taking a break a little bit, and it shows you some project you're working on, or some goals you have for yourself, or some actions that you're taking, that you rethink them, see them from a different angle. And this eclipse as well, this brings the energy of the newness there, and to break through from inactivity into activity. This renewal can come also in parallel with this deep reconsideration. Or, as I said, it might be just another project you're finishing, completing, that you asked to revise a few times. So certain conversations, important conversations, clarifying conversations with authority figures, father figures, and so on, or papers connected to that, or maybe hearing from an interview about a job that you wanted before and it comes up now, or maybe some old project comes up and you approach it with renewed, enthusiasm or renewed vision. And Venus will also be the whole month in Aries pretty much, so it also smooths whatever surprises Mercury retrograde or frustrations give us, or the eclipse can be a bit shocking sometimes. Venus direct, even though it's invisible, but it still can smoothen the situation, can make you feel more calm about it, can help you have good results. And that's about the eclipse, it might be. And of course, the other eclipse in March was in your 4th house. Some of you might even have like relocations happening, changes with their family situation, and changes. And like this eclipse is calling you, come out of your shell and crawl out from, your rock, because the eclipse in the 4th house is with the south node. So you need to let go of that, your safe zone, your comfort zone. Go out into the scary, big, white world and dare. Or the universe will kick you there and throw you into the water before you can swim. Then the other big event is we have a new cycle starting between Saturn and Mars in your 9th house. Usually this is a difficult combination, but it's making a trine to you. So it's around the 10th of April, but the themes that you start noticing in April while the conjunction is still closed might be something that you have to be dealing with for the next 2 years. And Mars and Saturn wants us to develop a no-nonsense attitude. No bullshit, no beating around the bush. Now you get serious and you work. Otherwise, there can be some slapping with the ruler from the universe. Because Saturn and Mars don't play around. If you don't do things right, according to the principles of Saturn and Mars, and they're in your 9th house, here there is like a very strict moral or ethical. The universe is kind of becoming stricter when it comes to morals and ethics for you, moral dilemmas of any sort. So Saturn-Mars conjunction here might mean that for the next 2 years you're grappling or really seriously approaching, not just seriously, but with focus and determination and willpower, which is also Mars qualities, the matters of maybe eliminating or creating more virtues. You might be approaching the topic of self-improvement, which is 9th house, is one of the self houses. This is another water sign for you. It is the highest version of the self. If the first version is your awareness of I, Cancer, the second version is you as the creator, the third version is you as your highest self, the highest potential is this 9th house. So it's about house of self-growth, self-improvement. So really getting serious about some studies, higher knowledge, education, pre-qualification. You might start on some difficult project about where this is the house where you're upgrading yourself through your knowledge. This is the house of knowledge, through your wisdom. So you might get very serious about taking on some difficult course to study, some teaching or learning path that you embark on, that you'll put a lot of effort and energy and seriousness and willpower in the next 2 years. The high manifestation of Saturn and Mars is that within these 2 years that the cycle is influencing you there, starting now from April, you can really have some big achievement with willpower and personal effort. It's not going to be handed to you on a platter, that you'll be very proud of. And usually the results can be incredible if you've applied the principles of Saturn and Mars: perseverance, jumping over hoops and obstacles, and willpower. Of course, there might be some issues, again, 9th houses, with the teachers, professors, or legal system. Sometimes it might be matters, 9th house is the laws, whether spiritual or human laws, the legal system, or whether the spiritual principles, this is the house of God, but also of judges. So you might have, some of you, some battle that is starting, or that you might be even aware of it already, connected with legal papers, with something about visas or foreign countries relocation, where you have to be very consistent, use willpower, no shortcuts. This is always the word for Saturn, no shortcuts. The Rahu is the opposite, the eclipse in the 10th house. When it comes to your career, you can have a sudden rise, But when it comes to the matters of morals, of self-improvement, of law, of legal system, of spiritual improvement, that this here, Saturn and Mars are saying no shortcuts, hard work. Or educational matters of any sort as well. And it can give you sometimes issues as well. It's one of the houses of the father, together with the 10th house, something to do with the father that is more challenging, let's say. It can also embark you on a new project that is connected to the 9th house, maybe connected to, I don't know, either foreign relocation or something to do with foreigners, something to do with teaching as well, and so on. But be serious about your spiritual self-improvement approaches. You will be. And you put your philosophies and beliefs into order and try to also, through Mars, to apply them. Maybe while Neptune was in your 9th house for the last 12 years or something, 14 years, you absorbed a lot of different spiritual beliefs, but that are undefined. And now Saturn comes to organize those for the next 2 years. And Mars comes, not that just your head is full of different spiritual ideals, but Saturn comes, let's organize them so you know what it is, make sense of them, remove the ones that unrealistic, whatever learnings, teaching, knowledge you have, and Mars says, and let's act on them. Okay, you've been absorbing them like a sponge for 14 years, Neptune in the 9th house. Now, time to organize, eliminate, and act on it. So there might be, for some of you, some kind of a bit of a spiritual crisis, let's say, because the 9th house is our belief in the future connection to God. But also it can be a big push for you to work harder towards achieving this connection, this meaning in life, this making sense of everything and understanding it, becoming very serious about that. All right. It's also about traveling, distant traveling. Yeah, in April might be, but with Saturn and Mars in the 9th house, maybe if you're going on some kind of if you're going to travel for work, might be good, or for some internal work, or maybe for some martial activities there, I don't know, boot camp. But there might be some stresses around that, around the 10th in particular. Okay, and then the most important event. I think it's probably, the eclipse is a big deal, but Uranus joins Jupiter. Eclipses happen 4 times per year, sometimes 5. Jupiter joins Uranus once in 14 years. Last time was 2010. Now it's joining for the first and last time in your life in your 11th house. It will never happen before it happened in your 9th. Now it's in your 11th house. Okay, what is it? It's a house of fortune, first of all. It's the house of, in Western astrology, the 12th house, the 11th house, the house of rewards, gains, fulfillment of wishes and dreams and desires. And Jupiter and Uranus are like green light. They're gates that allow. Just like Saturn forbids and watches you very closely. So be moral, follow all moral strict rules, the highest possible, because there will be repercussions otherwise from the law or from the one above, your higher self. But at the same time, there is such a door opening for you in April, and it opens for 14 years. So something will be happening, might be already for you, might be started from the beginning of the year. Jupiter has been close to Uranus from the beginning of a year. So don't fixate on the date, the 20th of April only, and expect, oh, nothing happened, astrology doesn't work. No, you look back on this year, 2-3 years or 5-6 years from now, and you'll say, wow, this was around the time the year, maybe not exactly on the 20th of April, but around the spring, the beginning of the year, into the summer, that a new spark of inspiration entered my life that becomes a source of abundance, wealth, fortune, because it's a very fortunate abundance. Jupiter is fortune. Uranus is coming suddenly. Uranus is sudden luck. Jupiter expands that. So there might be sudden rewards for you. Reaping rewards as well. Financially, a new opportunity for income. 11th house is income. Or 11th house is business as well. It's the money of the business. We see you have activation here if you have business or career for something new to start. But also you have activation here that for the next, not just now, but for the next 14 years, you might be reaping from that. Some new source of income, some new source of public recognition as well as the 11th house. Maybe you bring out a product and society and it goes viral. Jupiter Uranus has this viral spreading quickly. 11th house is to spread to large groups of people. Maybe you have an idea, you want to teach something. This new cycle in your 9th house, activation of teaching, you have a message. You're a messenger for the gods, or want to help people, be counselor or whatever. Something idealistic, well, it can become viral. Or if it's a career, path, it can become viral. And you can influence large amounts of clients or people or followers or viewers with this 11th house Jupiter Uranus, because this is the access to society. And also it triggers for you a process where you'll be very much in tune with what the collective wants and needs, the fads, the trends of the collective. The 11th house is society as a whole, and Jupiter and Uranus are two of the most intuitive planets. Jupiter rules angelic wisdom, Uranus rules divine wisdom. It's like you'll know. There might be some downloads you receive, how to fulfill your dreams and wishes, which is the 11th house as well. There can be some downloads and suddenly getting an opportunity, or there might be someone that you meet suddenly. 11th house is other people in society, acquaintance. It doesn't have to be buddy. It might be someone from your friend circle. It might be someone from online. It's society and humanity as a whole. Acquaintance, but with a benefactor energy to them that really helps you break through in a dream of yours, that has faith in you, that helps you, promotes you, sponsors you, or embraces you, mentors you, recommends you. Or you can just meet friends now. And the results might not be immediately obvious. Because also Jupiter is invisible, Uranus is invisible. We're not going to be able, they're too close to the sun. We're not going to be able to see them. But the results might not be immediately obvious now, but over the next 2-3 years, you might have to come back to this video and realize, wow, I met some people around the spring, if you're not Northern Hemisphere, around 2024, and it turned out they were so useful for me. Or I joined some group or a club, or I got sudden access to some society that I wanted to be part of, some club, and that really opened doors for me later on. For some of you, those doors might open through others, or through acquaintances, or business connections, or networking straight away now. It's fast-moving energy, Jupiter, Uranus. But because but I want to tell you, for me, I started my business during Jupiter, Uranus conjunction. And I was like, the first year I was not seeing any results. But I didn't know if it will survive or anything. But here am I, 14 years later. It's been a constant source of abundance, because Jupiter, Uranus is something about abundance. For you, it's in Taurus, money in the 11th house. Fulfilling your goals and dreams and wishes, connecting with the right people, connecting with very intelligent, bright people with wisdom who can do things fast as well, who are very knowledgeable and who break you out of patterns and expand your horizons and show you things can be done differently in a bigger, easier way, you know. But make sure you keep your morals constantly, not just these next 2 years. But so yeah, look for such opportunities, guys. Maybe something to break through on the markets. It's also the 11th house, to break through in some area with, or just new friends that change your perspective. All right, so there you go, Cancers. Hope write to me if you start noticing similar or anything like that. I always love to read, and everyone reads the comments below. Many people read, because you see how it can unfold in the life of someone else, and you know, this gives you strength and hope as well. Thank you.